My wife, Sarah, left me 5 years ago and went to the United States with her lover. Now she has terminal lung cancer. Before she passed away, she took a long flight just to see me one last time. With her final breath, she looked at me and quietly said, "Mike, I know you're a good person. Please take care of David and my child after I'm gone." When Sarah died, I didn't waste any time. I called someone to take her body to the funeral home. There was no way I was going to spend money on a fancy hearse for her. I wrapped her in a simple sheet, found someone who collected scrap metal, and paid him a small amount to follow my car on his tricycle. At the funeral home, I ignored the looks from the staff and told them I wanted the cheapest cremation package. Just turn her into ashes. Sarah's body was being cremated when her lover, David, showed up crying. He looked like he was her real husband. I smirked to myself. What a drama. Sarah's love for him was something else. David was holding a baby who just stared blankly. Once he calmed down, he came straight over to me. The first thing he said was, "Give me $1,000, the kid has no formula." I couldn't help but chuckle. "Your kid doesn't have milk? What's that got to do with me?" David's eyes widened. "Mike, don't pretend you don't know. Tina asked you to look after us before she died. If my kid starves because you didn't help, would you feel good about it?" I casually looked at my watch. Sure, she said that. But I smirked. I didn't agree. She betrayed me and still wants me to take care of her lover and kid? No thanks, I'm not crazy. David got angry, raising his voice. "What do you mean, not real? You can't have kids. I did what you should have. I fulfilled your duty as a son-in-law. You should be grateful, treat me well, help Tina raise her son. Don't you get it?" It was true I couldn't have kids, but my family, who had been farmers for generations, didn't have anything to inherit anyway. It didn't matter if I had kids or not. I smiled coldly. "But I'm broke. Didn't you guys take all my money?" I wasn't lying. Before they ran off, they took everything valuable from my house. My wallet, my watch, all gone. They used it to live a fancy life. Before leaving, David even kicked my dog. The poor thing didn't eat properly for days. When David heard I was broke, his eyes almost popped out again. He pointed at my watch. "How can you afford a fancy watch if you're broke? Fake." Then he pointed at the red car parked at the funeral home. "How'd you get such a fancy car if you're broke? Rented?" He was so mad he couldn't even speak. The baby in his arms started crying because it was hungry. Seeing the child cry, David's anger softened. He pleaded, "Look at the kid, please. We spent everything on Tina's treatment. We even sold the house. I have nothing left. She told me to come find you, said you were kind, and wouldn't abandon her kid." He held the hungry child out to me, trying to make me feel sorry for him. I glanced at the baby. Cute, chubby, looking around like it wanted milk. Too bad it wasn't my kid. Why should I care? I'm broke, believe it or not. I said those words and turned to leave. "Wait!" David quickly blocked my way. Seeing that his act didn't work, he panicked. He took off a heavy gold bracelet from his arm, almost begging. "This is a family heirloom Tina gave me. I can't bring myself to sell it. Could you loan me money against it so I can buy formula?" Ha! 7 years married to Sarah, and I never knew about any family heirloom. Now this shows up with him? Oh, that's a love token. I'm not keeping it. David was desperate. He held the baby closer to me. "Mike, just look at this adorable kid. Can you really let him starve?" "Yeah, I can. I'm not his dad," I said, and left David in shock, driving away. After cremating Sarah and getting rid of David, life started to look better. Then, while I was eating at home, I heard a loud knock. Through the peephole, I saw a police officer outside my door, along with Sarah's parents looking furious. David stood behind Sarah's mom, Lisa, holding the kid. As I opened the door, Lisa stormed in, pointing at me and yelling, "Mike, where did you bury my daughter?" "Oh, that's what you want to know." Calmly, I walked to the trash can, picked up a box and tossed it to Lisa. "There, her ashes. Take them before I throw them out." You, Lisa stuttered. "You put my daughter's ashes in a crappy box?" I laughed. "Hey, look closer. That's a Chanel box. Having her resting in Chanel? What a life, huh?" Lisa almost fainted, collapsing into her husband's arms. I ignored her and politely let the police officer inside. "Officer, what can I do for you?" I glanced at David and then smiled sweetly at the police officer. "I'm not breaking any laws by not supporting my wife's lover and their kid, right?" The officer looked amused, clearly enjoying the drama. No, I'm not here for that." He pointed at Lisa. "This lady claims that the place you're living in was her daughter's property before marriage. Now that her daughter's gone, and since you refused to help with the kid, she's here to take the house back so they can sell it to support their grandson. I'm here to make sure you cooperate and move out." "Yep, we're here to kick you out," David said with a smug look. The mention of moving out got my attention. The house did belong to Sarah before we got married. According to the law, after her death, I really had no claim to it. Despite being broke now, Sarah was quite beautiful in her younger days, with long, curly hair that turned heads. She was once involved with some rich guy, and after he was done with her, he gave her this house to get rid of her. She hid that story from me and charmed the naive, fresh-out-of-college me with her looks. She claimed the house was bought with lottery winnings and assured me she believed in having no kids. She said she wasn't bothered by my infertility. So with the money my parents had saved for my marriage, filled with dreams of a happy life, I moved into that place until she almost left me without a penny. "Officer, if this was Sarah's property before marriage, then I should leave," I said. But I pulled out the property deed from the bedside cabinet and handed it to him with a grin. "Look, the house is now under my dad's name." The officer checked the deed and our family record, nodded at me and said, "Yep, the house is indeed yours now." "This can't be impossible," Lisa exclaimed, suddenly energized. She had been leaning weakly against her husband but sprang up. Snatching the deed from the officer, she read it. "Owner Mike, ownership type, solely owned." Seeing this, she was furious, stomping around the room. "How can this be, officer? Check him out, this deed must be fake." David was also dumbstruck, grabbing the deed only to find the same truth. He almost fainted himself. Sarah's dad, Tom, almost reached out to help, but thought better of it. Looking at Lisa, I laughed. "This deed's legit. Your daughter gifted the house to me voluntarily." I pulled out another sheet from the cabinet, a voluntary house transfer contract, and tossed it to Lisa. "See for yourself. Your daughter's signature is right there." Lisa was speechless, collapsing to the ground, muttering, "How could this happen?" The officer, eager to know more, asked, "Mike, what's the story here?" Smiling, I opened my computer and played an old video, a 5-year-old surveillance recording from my home. It showed David and Sarah walking right in and taking everything. My wallet gone, my watch gone, my coat gone. In broad daylight, they practically bagged up the millions my parents saved for my marriage. Sarah never realized I'd set up cameras at home, initially to watch my dog for fun. Instead, they caught her in blatant theft. "Officer, these luxury items were my pre-marriage assets. Sarah sold them after taking them. Isn't that theft and trafficking?" The officer nodded. "It is exactly," I replied triumphantly, glancing at David. "Did you think I'd let it slide?" Soon after Sarah and David ran off, I hired someone who found them. I had them warn Sarah that if she didn't return my stolen goods, I'd go to the police. Those items were worth enough to put them behind bars for a long time. Terrified, Sarah admitted she'd sold them and put the money in David's name to avoid prison. She transferred the property deed to me as compensation. I flashed a big smile at David. Really, thank you, David. This house's value has gone up a lot in 5 years. It's worth so much more now than what they stole. Hearing this, David fainted for real. I figured with money, a good job, and my wife's passing, life was finally looking good. But kicking Lisa and David out didn't end it. I underestimated Lisa's persistence. About 2 weeks after the police visit, Lisa came back, looking determined. She showed up one day while I was teaching. A short, heavy figure rushed into my classroom, carrying a thin, pale child. She kneeled down abruptly, pretending to cry. "Mike, you can't be so heartless. Tina's gone. You can't just keep her house and abandon her child?" Lifting the frail kid, she wiped fake tears. "Poor baby. Look how thin he is." The class started whispering, and curious eyes turned to me. "Mr. Mike, is that your kid?" "Why aren't you taking care of him, Mr. Mike?" "Mr. Mike, the little brother seems so pitiful. You should look after him." I never thought Lisa would do something like that. My mind went blank for a moment. Then I quickly reassured the students. "Kids, please believe me, she's not my child. She's just making things up." Then I walked right up to Lisa, glared at her, and yelled, "This is an elementary school classroom, not a place for your nonsense." Oh my gosh, what's she babbling about now? Did you take over my daughter's house? Are you neglecting the child? Lisa pointed a finger at me, looking like she was about to explode with anger. "Mike, have a conscience." I rolled my eyes at her, tried grabbing her sleeve to kick her out, but just as I touched the edge of her sleeve, Lisa dramatically fell to the ground. She mumbled and moaned non-stop. "Oh no, the son-in-law's hitting the mother-in-law. Oh my poor back, my tailbone." I was so thrown off by her act when suddenly there was a flash. Crap, that's the sound of a camera. I looked up and saw a reporter had somehow snuck into the back of the classroom. She was snapping photos of me and Lisa like crazy. "Did you get the shot?" Lisa asked. Once she saw the reporter give an okay sign, Lisa's eyes filled with satisfaction. "Mike, you watch out," she exclaimed, flipping herself up like nothing happened, with a smug smile as she dusted off her clothes and walked out. My heart sank. This isn't good, and I was right. The next day, a video spread all over the internet about how a male teacher from an elementary school took over a house and abandoned a child after his wife died of cancer. And when the mother-in-law came to seek justice, he beat her up. It even hit Facebook's trending list. People who didn't know the truth, heck, didn't even care to find out, just ate up this sensational report. A heartless, immoral guy like this also gets to teach? Expel him, my God. How pitiful to see the old lady crying on the ground after being hit. The kid looks so skinny, must be malnourished. Heard he's got money for a fancy car, but no money to feed a kid. This guy should be locked up for life. In no time, I became infamous online. People didn't even bother figuring out if that was actually my kid or if I really took over the place. Based on Lisa's fake tears, they already judged me. The online harassment was relentless. Tens of thousands cursed me fiercely. They even went to the Ministry of Education's social media to demand I be fired. Some local thug even threatened me, saying I'd better watch out. He'd beat me up whenever he saw me. I was thinking about taking a few days off to lay low when the principal called out of the blue. "Mike, what the hell did you do? Now my office is swarmed with parents demanding you be fired, calling you a scumbag unfit to teach their kids. You're suspended for a month. Stay home and think about your actions." A panicked principal continued, "Listen, about the child, it's not." Click. All I heard was a dial tone. Damn it, why suspend me? The next day, David called me, back to his old, arrogant self. "So, Mike, how's it feel to be roasted online? Crying at home, huh?" Honestly, I was crying because my friend Leo brought me this bowl of spicy noodles, and it was just too spicy. I mean, am I seriously going to cry over online hate? I unplugged the internet and it was all peace and quiet. As for the suspension, I accepted it. It's not like I'm fired. Once the truth comes out, I'll be back on the job. David really thought his scare tactics got me crying. So he continued, "Mike, you can't mess with me. You've got 3 days to clear out my house, or else I'll have Lisa cause more trouble, stir the public up again, and let's see if you still get to keep your teaching position." After his threats, he smugly hung up. Unbelievable. Leo seemed even more pissed than I was. It's got to be David feeding Lisa ideas, having her fake the tragic story. Plus, with those shady reporters, they've ruined your reputation. But then he gave me a sly grin. "We're not without our own cards to play." "What have you got in mind?" I asked quickly. "My dad knows the village chief where Lisa's from. Took him out for a meal yesterday, slipped him some cigarettes and drinks, and the chief told him some interesting things about Lisa." "What kind of things?" "Turns out they're all a bit shady," Leo explained. "There's a factory in their village, a pretty big one, and Lisa's been doing odd jobs there for the past 6 months. She's been sneaking into the warehouse at night while the guards are sleeping and stealing metal and aluminum to sell. She thought wearing a mask would hide her, but nowadays the cameras recognize you even with a mask." I had my doubts. If Lisa's been stealing stuff, why hasn't the village done anything? "Leo, I heard that the village boss and Lisa are related, so maybe he's just been ignoring it." I felt a surge of satisfaction. This information would be perfect to use against Lisa, make her apologize, and clear my name. The next day I drove to Lisa's village, parked outside their run-down houses. Smoke filled the yard, and Tom was burning paper for his daughter, muttering, "Sweetie, don't worry. Your dad will make Mike give up that house. That man can't have kids. If it wasn't for his money, I'd never have let you marry him. Once he's gone, me and your mom will sell the house and help take care of David and the kid." I mentally rolled my eyes at him a lot. Tom finally noticed me standing at their front door. He stood with his hands on his hips, smirking. "What's up? Got you scared now?" he taunted. "Listen, Mike. You gotta know when to give up. Just give us the house back, and we won't cause trouble at your school. You get to keep your job. So when are you moving out?" I calmly smiled. "You guys are celebrating too soon. I'm not here for that. You know your wife's been sneaking out a bunch of valuable stuff from the village factory for the past 6 months to sell. You had to know about that, right?" The moment I mentioned his wife stealing, Tom's face turned bright red with anger. "What nonsense are you talking about?" he snapped. "My wife's been honest her whole life. She's never stolen a thing. Stop pointing fingers." I slowly pulled a USB drive from my bag and waved it in front of him. "I've got surveillance footage of her stealing." He looked shocked. Little did he know, there wasn't a single clip of surveillance on that drive. It was a bluff. Tom looked confused. He didn't seem guilty, more like he genuinely didn't know anything about it. Maybe Lisa did all this behind his back. I asked, "Where's your wife?" Tom pointed to the shabby house behind him. "She's inside." I smirked. "Didn't you say I'm falsely accusing someone? All right, let me go in and talk to her. You can listen in from outside and see if I'm telling the truth. If you don't want to do it my way, I'll hand this USB to the cops. Stealing this much could get someone jailed for a long time. Your wife will be stuck in prison forever, and you're going to be stuck bringing her prison meals." Tom hesitated for a few seconds and decided to follow my lead. Sure enough, Lisa was inside. When she saw me, she wasn't very friendly either. I didn't waste any time. "Stop causing trouble at the school," I said. Lisa rolled her eyes. "Give up the house first." "All right then. Playing hardball it is." I stared her down. "Don't blame me when I don't hold back. I know your secret. What if it slips out?" I hinted. "How would you face the whole village or your hubby?" Lisa was stunned. She sneakily glanced toward the door to make sure Tom wasn't there, and then looked back at me. Her tone softened. "How much do you know about me and David?" "What? Her and David? Wow, unexpected bonus round. I suddenly remembered David's forearm and that gold bracelet. I played it cool. The gold bracelet. The mention of the bracelet brought a look of desperation to Lisa's face. She sighed and started talking, while I just watched, intrigued. You know, from the first moment I saw David, it stirred something in me, she confessed. He looked so much like my first boyfriend. My first love was from the city, forced to work here in the countryside. He left me to go back to the city, but I could never forget him. I thought about him my whole life. 6 years ago, when I had that stroke and was in the hospital, you introduced David to me as a caregiver. Since then, I've been secretly watching him, admiring him. Even when I found out he was flirting with my daughter and planning to run away, I couldn't expose him. I just stole some gold from the factory and had it made into a bracelet. I lied to my daughter, saying it was a family heirloom we just found behind the house, and gave it to her. I knew she'd give it to David, so in a way, it was my secret gift to him. Half a year ago, when I heard my daughter had cancer, I knew she was struggling. I kept stealing from the factory and sending her money to make her life a bit easier. Oh my, I was almost in tears. Such a sad love story, weirdly touching. While I was processing all this drama from Lisa, a yell broke the tension from outside. "Lisa, you witch!" Tom kicked the door open, bursting in with a shovel in hand, eyes blazing with anger, ready to strike. "You dared cheat on me with that pretty boy?" he yelled. "I'm gonna end you today. Whoa, better keep my distance before I get caught in this." I shot Lisa a look of pity and quietly snuck out. With Tom now busy planning a divorce and seeing David as his enemy, they wouldn't care about me anymore. Naturally, they stopped causing trouble, and my internet drama started to fade. A month later, the principal told me I could return to teaching. I walked to my car, whistling happily. Suddenly, a scruffy man appeared right in front of me, grabbing my arm. I looked up and recognized the once high and mighty David. I was more disgusted than surprised, and tried to shake him off, but his grip just tightened, pulling me down onto my knees. I couldn't believe it. What act was he playing now? David pulled out a report from his pocket and handed it to me with a sad face. I read it. Stomach cancer, late stage. Oh, no wonder he and Sarah were made for each other. They even had matching diseases. Lung cancer, stomach cancer. A tragically ironic match. I tossed the paper back at him. "Why are you coming to me because you got cancer? I'm not lending you money for treatment." David clung to my leg. "I'm not here to borrow money," he went on. "The doctor said there's no way to treat my illness here. But there's hope in America. Lily's a doctor in the US, right? Please help me get in touch with her. Tell her I'm sick. She wouldn't ignore me." Hearing him mention Lily, my blood boiled. I couldn't help but kick him away. "Lily? You think you can even mention Lily's name? Back then, my sister loved you so much. She didn't care you weren't as educated as her. She still introduced you to our parents and asked me to help you find a job. I thought you were smart enough, so I let you take care of Sarah's dad for a bit. I didn't expect you to hook up with Sarah. You two did stuff in the new house my parents prepared for you," I yelled at him. "Do you know how long it took for Lily to get over you? If it wasn't for you, she wouldn't have left for the US. Get over it. Lily hates your guts. She's forgotten all about you." David shook his head stubbornly. "No way, no way. Lily said she'd only love me in this life. She can't have forgotten me. If she didn't love me, why did she leave so far? Sarah's dead now. I'm single again. Tell Lily I'm willing to start over with her. She'll agree for sure." His delusions made me sick. "Fine." I pulled out my phone. "You think Lily still loves you? Let's call and ask." Under David's eager eyes, I dialed the phone and put it on speaker. "Hey, sis. David wants to get back with you. Oh, and he has stomach cancer. Wants you to help him in the US." Before I could finish, there was a thunderous roar from the other end. "Tell him to get lost!" The light in David's eyes dimmed away. I sneered at him. "Hear that? Lily got over you a long time ago. I heard from my dad that Tom and Lisa are getting divorced. Apparently, Tom knocked her out with a shovel. It's scary. He was so mad he went to the police and reported her for stealing. She barely recovered and got hauled off to jail. Tom despises David now, including his grandson. David knows he's dying and wants to leave the child with Tom, but Tom's heart is like stone. He threw them both out. Leo was lounging on my couch, drinking, as he shared the latest gossip. I took a sip, nodding with satisfaction. Never expected Tom to be so ruthless. Leo and I were just talking about how David brought this on himself when we heard a faint baby's cry at the door. When I opened it, there was a basket with a baby inside. He blinked up at me, innocent and wide-eyed. Isn't this David's kid? Leo was shocked. I looked around, not a trace of David anywhere. Damn, did this guy ditch his kid and run? Oh, there's a letter in the basket. Leo fished out a piece of paper. Mike, I'm sorry I hurt you and Lily. Getting stomach cancer is karma. I have no money for treatment, so I'm going back to my hometown to wait for the end. I'm not afraid to die, but I am afraid no one will care for my child. Tom hates the kid, and Lisa's in jail. After much thought, I figured you're the best one to raise him because, after all, he's Tina's son, and you once had a bond as husband and wife. You're kind and have a big heart. I trust you'll care for him until he grows up and gets married. You can't have kids, so having a son to take care of you works out well. I can't offer money, but I'm leaving you the gold bracelet from Tom's family. This letter was full of emotional manipulation, and it almost made me and Leo sick. David, your plans are shamelessly bold. You and Sarah lived off my money for 5 years, and now you're asking me to raise your kid? Do I look like a fool to you? Leo asked tentatively. You're not seriously going to take care of him, are you? I shot him a glare. Do I look like I have a screw loose? Leo breathed a sigh of relief. He pulled out the bracelet from the basket. Stolen loot from the factory, I said. I should take it to the police. Wait. Leo weighed the bracelet, looking puzzled. Thay weights off, doesn't feel like gold, more like some rare metal. He's a science teacher, he knows his metals. Don't take it to the police just yet, let me check it out in the lab. 2 hours later, Leo called, sounding pretty excited. He told me, Mike, I figured out why Sarah and David both got cancer. That bracelet isn't gold, it's some kind of alloy with high radium content, just gold-plated radium. Isn't that the stuff that gives off radiation? No wonder they both got cancer. Living with this thing is like being in a reactor. Marie Curie died because of it. Sarah and David were soaking up radiation for 5 years. No wonder one got lung cancer, the other stomach. Lisa never expected it either. Her gift to her lover turned out to kill them. And her daughter, too. So, Mike, what are you gonna do about the baby? I looked down at the peacefully sleeping infant in the basket. His face was innocent. His lashes fluttered. I picked up the child and headed to the police station. Officer, I found this baby, I asked. They said he'd be sent to an orphanage, waiting to be adopted. His future, good or bad, won't have anything to do with me. I might hope he gets a loving family. Sarah wasn't wrong. I'm a nice and forgiving guy at heart, but raising a child for a cheating boyfriend? Sorry. No matter how cute the kid is, I can't. I walked out of the station into the sunlight, moving forward towards my own future, and it's looking brighter.